Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Cromwell Sports Chronicles. My name is Lane Cromwell. I am so fired up for our show today, I can hardly even stand it, but I am privileged to be your host. We are dawning into the double digits of episodes, and so thank you for clicking on the podcast or YouTube or Facebook, however you found us. I appreciate you tuning in. And I kid you not, today we're either going to be kicked off of the internet or this show is going to take off nationally. So get your seat belts out, as Craig Bolerjack says. Buckle up because it's going to be a fun ride. Let me introduce my awesome guests. And these two guests are two gentlemen that I've grown up with back in the day. We all went to Preston High School in Idaho together. They have moved on to just absolutely unbelievable careers. They're two of the smartest people I know, but also two of the funniest and cool dudes I've ever met. Let me introduce first Devin Castleton and then Stephen Kindred. Guys, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
Hey, Lane.
Thanks, Leno.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Oh,
this is delightful.
Yeah. It is delightful. I'm excited, and let me just throw this out. I'll kind of volley back and forth a little bit, but Devin, discuss kind of your background, you and Steve, from your perspective. When did you guys become friends? When did you start hanging out? And I don't know, did you do any sports, any relationship that way? Did you play ball of any kind together? Or give me some background on you two.
Oh, man. Yeah. So I remember pretty vividly, actually, and for people that know me now and didn't know me before, this might sound backwards or weird, but I was a huge BYU football fan when I was a kid, all the way through high school. And I remember at kindergarten at the Oakwood Elementary School, I saw Steve wearing a BYU jersey, the royal blue BYU jersey. And he was standing in line at the water fountain. And when I saw him wearing the jersey, I was just like, oh, yeah, I love BYU football. And he knew everything about it just like I did. And so, yeah, we were pretty fast friends after that. It's weird that you're having me on a sports show, though, because I used to think I was pretty good at sports, but I was not. I don't think I was very good at sports. But, whatever. But I played school sports up until ninth grade or so is kind of when all my dreams ended. But yeah, we played junior high football together, junior high basketball together, and might have been involved in the dare game since we were a kid all the way till now. But that, I don't know if you want to talk about that stuff. That's probably less interesting. But yeah.
We're going to get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we got some.
Yeah, you do. History. Steve, what would you like to add to that? Do you remember kind of meeting Devin for the first time, or do you remember kind of what made you guys hang out?
Yes, I actually do. And before I jump into it, Lane, thank you for the invitation. This is fantastic. I have listened to, I think, every one of your episodes except the last one, and I will get to it. And it's a real pleasure to be here.
I did the thank you before we started recording, and Steve jumped in and did, this is such bullshit, dude. Okay, but I just want everybody to know that I thanked Lane all about before we hit record. That's all I'm saying.
We got two classy guys on. They both said thank you. Everybody's good. America, Devin and Steve both said thanks. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, and let me also add this. There's going to be a whole lot of insider stories and jokes, and we'll try to not to get too deep into the insider category here. But I think one theme of Devin's and my life for forever is that we're really pretty similar, but sometimes I employ a little more diplomacy than Devin does, like thanking you at the beginning of the podcast. But yeah, I remember, I don't know, Devin, if you have a comeback to that, I'll let you, but otherwise I can keep talking.
I mean, I would just say that I would say I lacked the diplomacy back then, but I've certainly learned from it. At this point, I would like to think, but for sure, yeah, that describes us pretty well, I'd say.
Absolutely. So I remember meeting Devin at the drinking fountain as well. And I remember that
Oh.
BYU jersey because I think it's my, I don't know, first or second grade class picture. I'm wearing it.
Was it number 42?
Devin, I was about to ask if you remembered what number it was, and I think it was 42. And I remember, I don't know, there was something about Devin. He has always been one of the most interesting, compelling, intelligent people that I've ever known. And so, yeah, we played on a few high school or a few junior high and other teams together growing up. But more than that, we just have played a ton of backyard football and basketball, and I've got some stories we could swap about those days as well. But there's probably nobody in my life that's thrown more passes to me than Devin Castleton. And, there's definitely a long history, and it's been a great history. So happy to share the platform today with Devin.
That was nice of you to say about me, Steve. Thanks.
Wow.
That was really nice. Made me feel really good.
I don't know. Now, you guys
cool.
know this is a sports show. It's not like a dating game show, right?
Okay.
Oh,
all right. I'll lay off the sappy stuff.
No, take it easy. Take it easy. Let me ask you this. One of the reasons I wanted to have both of you guys on is because there is what I call folklore. And maybe that means I just didn't hear the story in detail, but Steve, I'll let you start. There is a story about 25 years ago. There was a local TV show or a TV channel called KSL. They used to do a sports show, and it was called Sports Beat Sunday. Could you give me your version of, apparently the at-time BYU coach LaVell Edwards was on the show and somebody made a call?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit of background. I did bond over our love of BYU. And just to I don't know, give myself some credibility, he and I would go to all the home football games, drive from Preston, Idaho, 3.5 hours there. And I would listen to Paul James all the way there, all the way home. Loved LaVell Edwards. Ty Detmer is still my favorite athlete of all time. We grew up on it together. And we would meet often before the game to slap fives with the players running in and out of the tunnel. And we would meet like underneath the bowels of Cougar Stadium and throw passes back and forth and pretend like we were on the team. I don't think we ever got on the field, did we, Devin? Maybe we did a time or two when there was a big win.
At Utah State we did. They were a little more laid back about that stuff, but I don't think we ever got on it.
Yeah, probably.
So stadium that deep.
And we were legit big super fans, right? I listened to a lot. I mean, again, this is back before there were a million cable stations. And so the way that you consumed sports was not ESPN. It was largely the 10 o'clock news.
Sports line. The Cougar Sports Line. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Remember that printed newsletter that came in the mail like once every 2 weeks? Yeah.
Oh, that's right. With all the insider stories. And now that's like, I don't know, the equivalent of online message boards probably. But back then, it was once every 2 weeks. And once a week, Cougar Sports Line would come on KSL. Was it a Saturday night, Devin? I think it was a Saturday night, wasn't it? This fateful story that we're getting to.
It was a slow weekend. It was a slow weekend for sure. It was coming up at the end of the summer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So because they were previewing the season and LaVell Edwards was on and it was a call-in show.
Yes. So it's a call-in show, and Devin and I also we shared a love of Chris Farley, and he had the famous skit where he was I forget the name of the talk show host. Somebody help me out. But he would do that shtick, right, where somebody would come on and he'd like, hey, remember the time when you were in that movie and like you crashed the car? And then awkward pause. No. That was awesome. So Devin goes upstairs. No. We were in my house in Preston. Devin goes upstairs, dials in the number, and I'm watching. And somebody calls in, Paul James, it probably was, says, hey, we've got a call from Devin in Idaho. And I hear something to the effect of, remember that time when Ty Detmer made that one awesome pass back of the end zone? And LaVell Edwards kind of nodding along, and Devin goes, "That was awesome." And I'm, of course, rolling on the floor laughing at what Devin just did. So then we swapped, and it was my turn, and I don't remember what I said, but it was something along the same lines. So yeah, we were totally punking.
I remember what you said.
All right, let's hear it.
So here's the really interesting thing. That's a really well-told version of the story, and that's exactly what happened, except for whatever reason in my mind, I always thought that Steve made that call. I thought that Steve made the call about that was awesome, and then I thought I called in after that and just asked how much zoology books cost.
Oh, that's right.
Steve was like way better, and I thought, well, shit, how am I going to top that? And school was starting. It was the fall, so I asked how much zoology books were, and it made it on the air. Both calls made it on the air.
And LaVell, in his very serious voice, said, like deadpan, without even breaking a smile, about $75. That was, so he answered your question about the zoology textbook.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Well, Devin, I think, did you tell me you maybe had another experience or two or a run-in with LaVell, or was it just a coach at BYU, or what are those stories about?
I have one. And it's kind of odd.
Oh my gosh.
So
I need to breathe.
I was 21 or so. So I'd gone on my mission to Thailand, and then I came home, and I'd been living in Logan, and me and some college friends went to Thailand one summer for like 6 weeks or something like that. And the way we went was we went from Utah. We drove from Utah to Los Angeles and then caught a plane there and flew to Asia and back. By the time we got to LA and we're driving back to Utah, we were really worn out and tired. And we stopped at this gas station somewhere in the area of Las Vegas. And everyone was just angry and cranky and kind of sour. And we got to this gas station and we needed to go to the bathroom, and there was like only one room, and it was out back, like outside. You had to go through like side and then through this weird entryway. And there was like a saloon door type entrance, and then there was the commode room. It was really weird. But we went there and we found the bathroom, and it was locked. And so my buddy goes to get the key, and when he went to get the key, I'm not joking you, LaVell Edwards comes walking up and had the key, right? And goes through the saloon doors and like goes into the bathroom, which was totally open, not airtight. We're just like waiting on the outside for LaVell Edwards because he had the key, right?
No.
And my friend Dave comes back and he's pissed because the key's gone, right? The key's gone. Like some other customer has the key. And he comes back and he's just like, some effing customer has the key and it's a bunch of BS, whatever. He's just kind of being like sarcastic, but like also really funny and obviously profane. And he's like, who's in there? Tell me who's in there. He's just being sarcastic. And I'm like, dude, LaVell Edwards is in there. And he's like, oh, is he? Well, tell LaVell Edwards he can come out and kiss my ass. And LaVell Edwards rolls out that bathroom about 30 seconds later, and God is my witness says, whose ass do I kiss? It was a good one.
Devin, how have I never heard that story? That is gold.
That was I want to say that was like August or July of 2001. I swear to you that happened. I promise you that happened. Fantastic.
Oh, we got to go to a commercial break because I can't breathe. Oh my gosh. Oh, dude. Oh, wow.
I'm crying.
That is gold. That's gold. Yeah, I'm wiping away tears myself. Holy smokes. Woo. Okay, everybody. All right. Thank you, Devin. That was some great insight about a saloon.
That one plays well with a lot of my BYU friends. I'll be honest with you. That one's done well over time.
Oh, man. Well, Steve, obviously we're not trying to one up here at all,
Yeah,
but
I concede.
you've actually done a lot of sporting things. Um, anything come to mind that you want to share before I move on? This is like a great jousting match of stories. My goodness. Anything you want to reveal, or should we move on?
Steve, did you tell him
I,
about the time that you had a race with the deer on the East Bench in Logan?
Yeah.
Did you tell him that story?
Leno, I think you know that story. Is that one that I should tell here? Is that the right style of story you're looking for at this moment?
At this point, I'm actually going to defer to you. It's your call,
Okay.
because this is gold. This is
Well,
gold.
I'll give you a nice intro to explain why this is relevant. So my favorite thing to do is it's one of my favorite things to do is to run. I ran cross country in high school. And by the way, Leno,
Yes.
We can talk a little bit later about this, but I loved the episode with your brother Andy. And I've got some thoughts about that episode because I really, really loved it. His talking about cross country and
Yeah, he's a great storyteller.
So
he did all the work.
And before Steve gets into the story, which is a really good one, I'm sure, he said nice things about me, so I feel obligated. I'm pretty sure Steve's going to be really modest about how good of a runner he is, but I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the statistics are, but he's actually, I don't like world-class runner, but he's probably like 99th percentile. I think he's run all of the major marathons in the United States, like multiple times. He's just really, really good at it. That's probably important to know. I just wanted to put that in there.
Well, that's kind,
Devin.
Right? Thank you for that. And I think a relevant point here is that, I do like the long distance. I like the endurance sports. And in part, that's because I have no fast twitch muscles. I am not a sprinter, and that will feature prominently here in just a second. So Devin and I were hanging out with a couple of girls. I guess it was a date. It was more of a hangout, I think, in Logan, Utah. And on the East Bench in Logan, it kind of is right up against the foothills of Logan Canyon and that mountain range there. And we were driving around. It was like 10:30 at night, and we're with these two girls, and we see, I think it was 3 or 4 deer standing on somebody's front lawn. And that didn't really happen in Preston, so Devin and I were, very obnoxious and trying to impress these girls, and also just always loving to have, a crazy time. We jump out of the car and start throwing snowballs at these deer. So the deer run down the block, 3 or 4 houses, and then they darted between 2 houses to get away from us throwing snowballs at them. So, of course, we followed them behind these houses. And again, I think it was 3, maybe 4 deer. Let's say it was 4 deer. It doesn't matter. But the 4 deer jumped over the backyard fence in this random person's house into the house behind, and we kept pursuing, of course, as one does. And then 3 of them jumped into the neighboring house. So it's like kitty corner now from where we are. But just so happens that there was a chain link fence or something that they sort of landed on in the other yard, and they were making a ruckus. So they start banging around, and Devin and I thought, oh, shoot, it's 10:30 at night, and we're hanging out at somebody's backyard. We better get out of here. And right about then, we see the last deer, the one that had not followed the other 3, jumping back over the fence coming our direction. So Devin and I turn tail and start sprinting. But Devin has fast twitch muscles. I don't. And also my legs are like 28-inch inseam. So I've never been a sprinter. So we both start running as fast as we can, realizing there's a deer coming after us. And all I remember is hearing kind of a big bang behind me before I just got plowed into. Something hit my back, and I didn't have any reaction time to get a hand up. My face just started bouncing on the ground. Like, that's how quickly I was on the ground. And so I look up, and I'm thinking, what just happened? And then the pain started hitting me, and it started at the top of my head and then kind of went down my whole right side all the way to my hip. And I realized that when I hit the ground, I landed on about a 2-foot border of lava rock next to this house. So I got up, and I was red and bloody from my, like I say, my head down to my hip. And I look up, and Devin's already in the car, and they're all kind of looking out the window, wondering why I'm pulling myself up off the ground. And that was, kid you not, the worst physical accident I've ever had. My shoulder hurt for months afterward, and I guess the moral of the story is I wish I could sprint faster than Devin, and I can't, which is why I run marathons, because I can't sprint. So that's your story.
There's only one detail in there that I remembered slightly differently. When Steve remembered seeing that other deer turn back towards us, and he said that our thought was, "Oh shoot." I remember pretty vividly that was not Steve's thought. Maybe somewhere along those lines, but it was a little different than that.
Okay.
Well, Steve, I'm gonna ask you, I think the question that everybody wants to know. Was your date impressed?
Ooh, you know what? Well, it
just got ran over by a deer.
Yeah. It generated a lot of laughs for many years afterwards, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes. At least something good came of it, right?
Oh, man. You know, when they came out, when scientists came out with the factual evidence that the brain is not fully developed until 25, I have had many stories on these podcasts that have proven that that is correct information. Oh,
Indeed.
my gosh, I have done so many stupid things. This is refreshing. Oh, well.
Education, indeed.
And the jabs are starting to flow freely. Fantastic.
The jab.
Well, Devin.
I went to Texas Tech.
Well, I have a little bit of a pet peeve, and Devin, maybe tell me if you can just relate to this. I'm at the mall the other day, and I just have this pet peeve. It drives me crazy. But I left my phone in the car. I usually wear a watch. I left it at the house. I forgot to put it on. And I just have to know what time it is. I know I had something going on, but is that something you can relate to? Are you, I don't know, a time buff? You ever been somewhere and want to know what time it is?
I mean, I like watches, but I have a feeling that's not where you're going with this. I don't follow yet.
Well, you don't have to follow, and you don't need to worry, because right now, do you know what time it is? It's time for America's favorite game show, Do You Know? Buckle up, America, because here we go. I have picked a topic for you two, but you two have to make a decision. Do you two want to go head-to-head in this competition, or do you want to team up? Here's the topic.
Up, we won't lose. We won't lose. Team up. All
right. I agree.
Here's the topic. Popular Utah State University sports from 1999 to 2004, the years that you two attended.
That would not have been a relevant part of my college experience at Utah State. As much as I loved it, but I didn't go there for the sports. What do you think, Steve? I think I could be remotely.
Is there an alternative lane? Is there a second option?
Not topic-wise. The only option you have is working together or going head-to-head.
Well, definitely. I'm going to plead that we go together.
All right, let's go together.
All right.
I think I can do all right.
Let's see.
Okay.
Now, are you two Eagle Scouts by chance? Either one of you?
He is. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to rely on.
Yes, I'm an Eagle
Enough
Scout.
said. Drop mic. Okay.
Right.
All right. So I can rely on your honor.
I think Steve got his at like 12. I didn't get mine until I was 15. I had to, or I couldn't get my driver's license. So, but I did. I got it done. I'm an Eagle Scout.
And yet more stories come to light. But I will rely on your Eagle Scout honor not to be using technical devices during our show. Do you know?
Oh, yeah.
Is that fair?
I don't care enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Lane, I have to admit, I was just pulling up an internet browser. So, good catch.
See, there it is. There it is.
Scout's honor. All right.
Hopefully,
Clean.
and let me just throw out FYI.
Such a good team.
Hopefully, neither of you were affected by the ramifications of the lawsuit, Boy Scouts of America. Moving on. Okay.
Wow.
First,
I feel like I shouldn't be laughing at that.
Wait. Go back. I'm just kidding.
What's in the past is in the past. Okay. So, let's start with number one. I'm going to try. I think this is a softball. Number one, during that time frame, who was the head coach of the basketball team?
Stu Morrill.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
There's my contribution. You're on your own, Steve.
Okay.
Okay. Nice job. Number two, in the NCAA tournament, during that time frame you guys were there, Utah State actually had their last win in the NCAA tournament. This is 2001. Who did they beat?
I know this. It was Ohio
Ohio
State. Lane,
State.
I was on my honeymoon. Watched that game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crowd goes wild. All right, let's take it up a notch. While you guys were there from 1999 to 2004, what was the highest win total for the Aggie football team?
4.
99 to 2004.
Not a shade over 4. Did they win 4 the whole time we were there? Certainly not in one
Well,
season.
It was the year 2000. It was the year 2000. Mick, is it Dennehy? Dennehy was the coach?
Dennehy. Yeah, Dennehy.
Dennehy.
Yeah, let me think through this for a second. There was the fateful season before Riley Nelson went on his mission and then came back and played for a different school. But they won one game that year. And most seasons, I was happy if they got 2 or 3 wins. I would say 4 is a good guess, 7, maybe 3. But I'm not sure which one. So I'll let you decide which one, 3 or 4.
Well played, by the way, Lane. That's good.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time, there were like 117 Division I football teams, and it was always up for grabs who was the worst it was always Utah State and the University of Idaho. Like, it was rock bottom. It was terrible, but I think it was 4. I don't know why. That's my loosely educated guess. But it wouldn't surprise me.
There was always like the Southern Utah would be a win. Then you'd get maybe one over New Mexico State and 1 or 2 others. I like 4. I'm good with that.
You guys need to give them a little more credit. That year, most of the years I looked at, it was 4. That year, they went 5 and 6.
Ooh, we were off.
They went 5 and 6.
Well. So do we lose or do we keep going or what?
Oh, we're going to keep going. I want to see if you guys, I've got some good questions dug up here. I know you guys went to some basketball games.
Indeed, yes.
Indeed? Okay.
I went to some, yeah.
Can you tell me the official name of the basketball facility or the stadium?
Steve, let me run this by you because I'm pretty sure you'll know it, but I think it's the Glenn D. Smith Spectrum.
Yes. I knew it was. Well, I was fairly confident it was the Smith Spectrum and Glenn D-E-E, right? Like our friend. Yeah, I think that's right. I like that.
Going D. Let's stay safe and just go D. Period though, because I don't know if it's D-E-E. Glenn D. Smith Spectrum. Final answer.
Final answer.
Judges. I think they might give it to you. It's actually the D. Glenn Smith Spectrum. Right. It's D. Glenn.
They do that. They do that there. They do the first name apostrophe middle name. My gosh. Yeah. Okay. But I feel good about you giving that to me. If I thought you were giving it to me undeservedly, I would gladly not take it. But I think we got that.
We didn't know that all the words had to be in the correct order. I just thought if we had all the words, it would count.
I mean, I just assumed somebody that went to. Okay, here's number 5.
It's a fair point. You're the judge, man. It's up to you.
I think we're going to give it to you, but that's because I've got some tougher ones here. Besides having the Spectrum named after him, D. Glenn Smith is also famous for creating something else. What was he synonymous with or known for besides the basketball arena in Logan, Utah?
Oh.
I
That's a
absolutely
tough
don't
one.
know, but I got a couple guesses. What do you got, Steve?
I believe the field house. Is it the Smith Field House? Does that ring a bell? I used to give campus tours.
It was the Nelson Field House. It was the Nelson Field House where you could go play basketball or run or lift. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the the creamery? Like for the Aggie ice cream, was he like a dairy guy? And so, well, he's probably a basketball guy at the end of. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about the training facility is the Estes Center, Wayne Estes. Yeah, dang, I'm kind of blanking, Blaine.
Where did you guys do your grocery shopping while you were at school there?
Stop.
I don't think I.
Well,
Wendy's, Taco Bell, or Taco Time.
He is also the owner.
Smith?
He's the owner of Smith's Food and Drug.
Get out of town.
I did not know that.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go. So now comes the big question. This is the big question. If you get this right, we're buying you season tickets to the Utah State football game once they resume.
Lane, I'm not going to lie. I so badly want to impress you by pulling some obscure fact out of thin air here. Really, I do.
Again, this is Spectrum related. What is the capacity of the Spectrum? How many seats does the Spectrum hold?
I think I know this.
My number, Devin, I'll give you my number first.
Okay.
10,270.
I was thinking 10.5 right off the top of my head. It's in do we get a range or do we have to know like the exact capacity?
If we're gonna pony up for tickets, I think we should probably have the exact number.
Well, I'm going with
Devin's
number then.
I'm kind of a number guy.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
And look, I'm taking a big swing at this one. If I'm on the number, that's going to be kind of impressive. 10,270 is my guess.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
But you just absolutely want tickets to Utah State. He got it on the number.
All right.
Woo!
Hey, Lane.
Yes.
Do you remember? That was excellent. That was so impressive. By the way, Steve, that was
Thank you.
Creepy almost.
I'm kind of a weird. I have a brain for numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I got season tickets to the football team or the basketball team.
Whatever one's cheaper.
Cool. Lane, do you remember playing foosball in the basement of your house?
All the time. Yeah.
Remember this? Do you remember the phrase that has stuck with me? I heard it from you first, and I've used it copious amounts of times since. But I didn't know what it meant. You're the one that taught me this. When the goalie scores the goal to the other end, and you always go coast to coast. You remember that?
I still do it. Yes.
I do that to my son when we play foosball. I still do it, and I look right at him, and I go, coast to coast. I got that from you, so I'm giving you credit.
Oh, man.
Giving you proper attribution. That's your imprint on my life, Lane Cromwell.
Well, and the reality is that
to the next generation.
That imprint, I probably watched a little too much TV as a kid. I guarantee you that came from some stupid TV commercial,
like a
stuck in my head
or something, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Our Coast to Coast store is a friendly place, and we probably can name 75 to 80% of our customers by name.
Save during our Christmas sale on this Panasonic stereo cassette recorder. One-touch recording, only $39.99. Get the Swingline manual staple gun, only $4.99 after $3 mail-in rebate. Or electric, just $14.99 after $4 mail-in rebate.
America's Total Hardware Stores, coast to coast.
So, and whenever I scored on, Curtis or Todd or, anybody in the room. That was my favorite go-to saying. Dude, you just pulled that out.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
That's Chris Farley in the old stocking routine.
Taught me in talent sprouts, dude. Like, I got stories all over your house.
Oh, man. Well, I want to actually touch on something a little. You mentioned it already, a little tender. And if you don't want to go to tender, I get it, Devin. But you shared a story on Facebook.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Well, I was actually going to say you played basketball up until 9th grade. Why?
Yeah.
Why not longer?
Well, let me just preface it.
You told a great story on Facebook. I thought it was awesome.
When I stopped playing, which was not my choice, it was the coach of the team's choice, and he chose for me to stop playing. But up until that point, my biggest basketball issue was I was really wondering where I wanted to play college basketball, like Boise State maybe, or like Utah State maybe. And that's where I was at when I got cut from the basketball team in 9th grade.
It's pretty tragic.
True story. It's a true story. I was crushed. I thought I was pretty okay. I wasn't that good. I was all right, but I wasn't that. I should not have been surprised to be cut, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, and Devin, the reason I bring it up,
whatever.
The reason I bring it up is because we talk, periodically on the show. We just say, hey, sometimes sports takes us to places that maybe we weren't expecting. And when you shared that story on Facebook, I just went, yeah, dude, it doesn't always work out in sports. It rarely does. But that's the story I was kind of referring to, is not to try to embarrass you, just more to say it kind of took you to a place that blows my mind.
No, yeah, and thanks, and no problem at all. I'm not good at basketball, so I think I could make someone think that I was good if I was just shooting by myself. If someone saw me just shooting around, they might think, I wonder if that guy played in school. But then if we actually got in the game, they'd be like, yeah, he definitely didn't play. So it's totally okay to joke around about me getting cut, but I got cut, and I had taken piano lessons since I was 4 or 5. And pretty hardcore about it. I took lessons. I practiced an hour or two every day, kind of a part of my childhood. And then I got kind of into junior high, and I got into sports, and I kind of lost interest in it, and I stopped doing the piano stuff, right about that time, actually, about the time I was 15. And so I got cut from the basketball team, and I was genuinely crushed and bewildered. I had some lessons in self-awareness to learn, I think, at that time. But I was kind of bored, man. I didn't know what to do because it was Preston, It was 3,500 people, and it was the middle of winter. And so my mom had this old classical guitar, and I think you're supposed to string it up with nylon strings, but the only ones I could get a hold of were electric guitar strings. So I strung up my mom's classical guitar and started to learn to play the guitar. And I guess what you're probably getting at is guitar is one of my favorite things. So
you're
I'm
unbelievable.
42 now, and it's one of my favorite things. Thanks. But it's truly just been one of the best things ever to happen to me. So I guess I'm really happy that I didn't finish out a really lackluster career in high school basketball and lose out on the opportunity to find something like the guitar. So yeah, sports worked out for me pretty well in that regard.
I need to interject something as well. Since you said something very kind about me and my running, no, I would say this anyway. This is absolutely sincere. I think it was a different Facebook post actually, but somebody posted something of you playing, I forget, either piano or guitar. And I remember sitting there thinking sincerely, Devin is better at the guitar and the piano than I am at anything. Devin, for all those out there listening, he is an incredible musician. And if getting cut from the 9th grade basketball team awoke anything in him to pursue that, then that was a gift from the universe, because we need more people like Devin playing music because it is spectacular.
Guys, is this like an intervention? Do you think that I'm like not okay right now?
Devin, we're
really
all your
nice
friends
of you to
here.
say.
We're all your friends.
Really nice.
And
That was nice. It is 100% not true, but thanks for saying that. I like music a lot, but Steve,
well,
you're
I
pretty
can actually.
impressive. That's quite a compliment. Thank you.
All right, one up me now. Just kidding.
Well, I can actually
Dartmouth.
interject because.
You know what? You want to talk about
Oh,
that for a little
geez.
bit? Anyway, he
Steve,
made an insane argument. That's all I'm saying.
Steve, I was the one that posted that. I was the one that I remembered from a contest in Preston that they held. Devin got up and started playing this song, and I just went, holy cow, did he just really play it? And there were so many responses to other people chiming in saying that was the most insane Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star version I've ever heard by Mozart or
Right.
whoever it was. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. So, Devin, I get it. You're being humble, but you're unbelievable. So that's just bottom line. That's a fact. Deal with it. Boom. Drop the mic. Next.
Well, man, that's really nice
Yeah,
of
you're
you to
welcome.
say.
It's real. Steve, you mentioned you were listening to the running show. I'm
Yes.
sure you've got a running story. Did you say you had a running story you wanted to share or a thought?
Oh, brother, yes, I have so many. It's my therapy.
Hit us with one.
It's how I deal with life. And well, I'll touch on your guest, Andy Cromwell. So as I was coming up through high school, I had this story is a nice dovetail from what Devin was saying. So I did make that ninth grade team, and somehow, Devin was better than I was, but I think I was the hustle guy. Like I was the one who never took second place in the shuttle run and the sprint around the gym up and down the stairs. I was the try hard guy.
Definitely a second place shuttle runner for sure. I was.
But I wasn't very good at basketball either. And in fact, I like to tell people this really quick interjected story that in 8th grade, Devin and I both played, and our team we won our first 2 games and then lost our last 8. And then in 9th grade, we lost all of them. We were 0-14, and then I got cut going into my 10th grade season. So that means I finished my basketball career on a 22-game losing streak. Yes, indeed. So,
Steve, speaking of, do you remember that game at West Side when I can't remember who got the steal or the rebound, but it was one of us, and we did that drill in the game, and we back and forth it all the way to one of us getting a layup. I don't remember who it was.
Coast to coast.
Do you remember that?
Coast to coast.
It was pass, layup. And Devin and I, we practiced that probably 300 times outside of that game. And when it happened in the game, it was beautiful. Someday, when I get a chance in the next life to revisit parts of my life that were the highlights, I'm going to go back and watch that replay in real time, and that's going to be amazing.
And Lane, after you catch this running thing, don't let me forget to tell you the highlight of all of Steve's athletic career. And he will agree with me, but I bet he doesn't remember. So don't forget.
Okay, I won't forget. Hit us,
so
Steve.
Back to the story, Leno. So I wasn't good at basketball, and then I realized around that time that I actually was kind of okay at cross country, and I loved the guys on the cross country team. And at that point, I knew that there were a handful of people that were kind of the grandfathers of Preston High cross country. And Andy said it well, your brother. He talked about how Preston couldn't field a full squad, but then they made it to state one year, and I think they took, 5th his senior year. And so I knew about Andy Cromwell, and I knew about Jeff Cromwell, your brother. And there was a guy named Mike Moser who was my idol when I was a freshman. He won lots of races. And Brady Campbell's another one.
Brady Campbell.
Those guys who established kind of a culture of working hard and having
Brian
a heck of a lot of fun doing it.
Brian Castleton, lest we forget, he was in there.
So somehow or other, we got a handful of guys in there that we all just really loved running. A mutual friend of ours, Todd Campbell, and various others. We just really loved it, and we got into it, and we started having some success and beating a lot of teams. And we got to our junior year, and we realized we've got a chance here because not many guys out there are beating us. But one of my favorite aspects of that story is going to the state meet, and you see all these other teams that have their coordinated warm-ups, their shorts and their running pants and their gloves and hats sometimes, all with the proper colors and the school names. And we were just out there wearing whatever we pulled out of, the warm weather bin from our house. We looked scrubby, to say the least. And we showed up, and yeah, please.
I had a quick question while you brought that up. If I remember this right, do I remember this right, that Preston cross-country runners eat raw meat, run naked, and sleep in the snow or something like that?
That's right. That was our T-shirt. Yeah, that was it. Good memory. But I remember, Lane, also, this is kind of just a random piece of this, but, we're going back into the depths of my memory here. I remember I was rooming the night before the state meet with a friend of ours, Todd Campbell, and we both were restless the night before. And waking up, I woke up around 4 a.m. and I could hear Todd wrestling or not sleeping. And I said, "Hey, Todd." He goes, "Yeah." And I said, 6 more hours till we're state champs. And he kind of laughed and I laughed, and we went to sleep. But anyway, long story short, we went out that meet and we took state. And the girls took state that day as well. And somehow the culture of having fun and working hard, I don't know if I can throw around the word legacy, but Preston High has won a bunch of state championships in cross country since then. And I know how geeky it is. It's not the sexy sport, but it's something that means a heck of a lot to me. And, I give credit to people like Andy Cromwell and Jeff Cromwell and others who set a precedent of having fun and working really hard and then going out and beating people. So those are a lot of my favorite memories of high school and even life, as cheesy as that might sound, are related to running cross country in high school and being good at it.
Well played. Well played. Man, it feels like we should end on that, but there's just more juice. There's more gas in the tank here.
Okay.
I'm actually going to bring something up, and you two are going to have to sign off on this to tell the story. But you guys sign off on it, and then we're going to hit Devin with his story about Steve, and then we'll wrap up the show. But as I was reaching out to people about doing podcasts, somebody told me a story that I had never heard of. And they said, Steve and Devin used to dare each other to do things. And I'll just say there was some bicycle rides, but this person brought up a term that I had never heard before. And I still don't really know what it means, but if my imagination runs wild, it can probably go a lot of places. Did you two used to be called the Honeycomb Boys?
Oh, if we were, I'll tell you one thing, Lane Cromwell, we damn well deserve those names. Oh yeah, that was a thing. Yep.
If it's not radio appropriate, we don't have to go there, because I know that there's mothers that might be tuning in. Well, I'm just saying.
I think our mothers might know about this one, but the really quick intro here to put it in context is sometimes, in those nights in Preston, Idaho, when there's not a whole lot going on, you have to get creative. So I forget who started this, but one of us one night said, "Let's play a game. I bet I can do something that you don't dare do." And that was the only rule, is we would take turns. So one of us had to do something first. And if the other person did not have the guts or the stupidity or whatever to replicate that, then the person who did it wins. And we still haven't declared a winner.
There was a caveat, because there were some circumstances where one of us would do the thing initially, and you couldn't really duplicate the stunt. And so you could mutually agree on an alternative stunt to match that dare. But I think we only used that once or twice. But I have to be honest with you, Lane. This game went on. This game went on for years. Like, this game went beyond high school. And the honeycomb thing, I would say, was kind of was almost just like the kickoff to moves that I'll never talk about ever
Okay.
while I wander this earth. Like, there's a lot better stories than the honeycomb one, but that's good, and it's top. It happened at Preston while we were at school, so we can definitely go into that one. But dude, like, we took that to California for the choir trip.
Yes, we did. Yeah, you mentioned this, Leno. There was one time where we rode around an entire city block without any clothes on, and I don't remember who did it first, but the next person followed. Yeah, I think it was dark. I really hope it was dark because I don't.
It was dark. It was at night. It was my block. Yeah.
Do you two ever just thank the heavens that social media didn't exist back then?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I mean,
dude, somebody.
My adult mistakes are so much more embarrassing than the mistakes I made in high school. Like, I'm kind of dealing with social media already.
But yeah,
fair enough. Well played.
A cell phone camera could have put a little wrinkle in our plans and our reputation.
Wrinkle's
so anyway,
a key word there. Nice.
You tell him the story, Steve, because unequivocally it was Steve's dare. I matched it because I was not going to lose, but this did not originate in my brain. I just want to make that as a precursor. But yeah, Steve, tell them about the honeycomb dare. Honeycomb. The hallmark of our game, so let him have it.
Well, I got to figure out a way to do this diplomatically. It was so some of our dares were just so.
You're going to try to tell this story diplomatically? Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
I'm analyzing it now. There are some dares that really, like, you have to have no inhibition whatsoever to ride a bicycle around the block and make it, right? So that's a question of inhibition. And there are some dares that were like, how disgusting will you be? Like, will you eat something? So one night we were at Devin's house, I believe, and maybe it was, I don't think it was mine. I think it was your house. And eating cereal and eating honeycomb cereal, and a piece of cereal fell on the ground. So there are various ways that one can pick up cereal, right? And you can use your hands. You could use your feet, or you could use your bare bum and clamp on the honeycomb.
No.
Anyway, no, I thought, all right, Devin, this is an official dare. I think we had to declare as well. Like, I'm playing my hand
you did
right now.
Yeah.
So, Devin, take over, please. You can take it from here.
Well, yeah, like, he got right down there. He got right down there and just picked that thing up with his butt cheeks, and he ate the honeycomb. He ate the honeycomb.
What?
And yeah, I mean, it was an easy one, to be honest with you. Like, it took me 5 seconds. Then it was my turn. Yeah, that one was,
disgusting.
That one was easy, but.
Man.
I wish I could say that capped up our game. And, you know, Leno, bringing this back to sports, because this is the Cromwell Sports Chronicles, right? If I didn't have the dexterity,
that sounds like a sport in itself, Steve.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I consider all the squats I did growing up. That was cross training for that moment when I was going to drop the hammer on Devin and take the title. But wasn't
little did he know I had been doing the same thing the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Lane, I hope
there you go, Lane. There you have it, Lane.
This podcast today. I hope we're giving you what you wanted.
Oh, well, I just, sports come in all different shapes and fashions. I don't know if I was ready for that athletic event, but that was fantastic. Well, let's end the show. Devin, hit us with a story. What's the story you wanted to share about Steve's greatest accomplishment?
So there was something that happened to us in 8th grade that to this day I think is the moment where I was most impressed with Steve. And Steve has been one of my very closest best friends for since the drinking fountain, right? I don't think
Right.
Steve's ever gotten a B for a grade. I don't think Steve's ever had to pay for his own school until he went to an Ivy League education for, I think, a second master's degree. I think he's run the New York Marathon, the Boston Marathon. He's an insanely successful person. And I'm really proud to call Steve my friend. And I love that I've known him since the beginning because I'm vetted, like I'm in, right? I've legitimately his friend. I'm not bandwagoning. Like, I love Jared Hess. I thought Jared Hess was so cool. But he could see me in the airport and he wouldn't know who I was.
Napoleon, like anyone can even know that.
So I can't, you know what I mean? I can lay claim to Steve.
Take
The
that,
time
Jared Hess.
No. I would love to be friends with Jared Hess, but I just think I'd be a bold-faced bandwagoner if I reached out to him now. I was like, hey, man, what have you been up to the last... Anyway, I've earned it with Steve. I've been there from the beginning. I know he's one of the most impressive people that anyone will ever be.
Okay.
And the most impressive thing that he ever did when we were in junior high, we were on the 8th grade football team. And we didn't play. Steve was way better at defense than I was. I think that year I switched quarterback with Mike Hamlin. And for some reason, John Hyde let me start at quarterback half the time. And it was a disaster. We did not win a game. We didn't win a game our entire junior high school in football. But we played Malad this one time. And Malad was unbeatable. Malad was untouchable because Malad had this Adonis athlete guy on their team. And what was his name, Steve? What was his name? BV. Well, shout it out. We all know he
have
played
nightmares. Bryson Vaughn. Bryson Vaughn was
the best athlete
of Southeastern
we'd
Idaho.
ever seen. But in our world, he was the best athlete in the world. He was probably going to play for Duke or North Carolina. It was probably going to come down to that for Bryson. That's how good he was. And he was left-handed, and he kind of threw like Michael Vick. He just did everything perfect. And he was blonde and tall, and he had a six-pack, and he had a girlfriend, and everywhere he went, he just won in every category. And for some reason, me and Steve were playing, he probably scored 50 points in a game against us in basketball. And was so freaking nice and cool about it. So I don't know why we were playing defense, probably because the starting defense was playing so shitty that they put me in there to play defensive back and see. Steve was in there too, but I think Steve was playing a linebacker. Anyway, Bryson Vaughn drops back to pass. This is in Preston, Idaho, on that football field across the street from my house. Bryson Vaughn drops back and just one of those frozen rope laser passes. And where did it go? Right into the chest of Steve Kindred, who picked off Bryson Vaughn. Not a flag in sight. I don't think he returned it more than 5 or 6 yards. But Steve Kindred intercepted a pass thrown by Bryson Vaughn. He went on to play college basketball at Idaho State. And at that time, I was just like, you are the coolest of all my friends. None of our other friends could ever do that in a real game. And that was,
I like to say,
that was one of my favorite Steve moments.
I picked off the Michael Vick of Southeastern Idaho. Oh, yeah. That was a banner moment for me. Thanks, Devin, for the kind words.
My junior high school football highlight to match it, and this is a good one to close out on, I actually threw a 40-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Owen at home against Marsh Valley. And it got called back because Clint Packer held. And it was a 10-yard loss. But it was actually a pretty good pass, but it counted for 0 points effectively. And that, honestly, was kind of a simile for my life in Preston. So it all worked out.
It all worked out. Happy ending.
Oh, man. So, Devin, are you still friends with Clint Packer, or is he on your bad list now?
Oh, dude, I love Clint. We spent.
It's hard
Clint
not to.
Probably spent way more time with me than he ever wanted to, but yeah.
But don't we all wish Clint could have held a little bit less jersey on that play? Come on.
I
That
don't know.
one.
I think it was Randy Moser that threw the flag. I think it was Randy Moser, remember? And cut him anyway. I needed that moment in my life, I promise. And he took it away from me.
Oh, only in a small town like Preston can
Hey Lane, thanks
an eighth grader,
for doing
an
this.
eighth.
This was just fun,
Yeah.
man,
I mean,
and hilarious.
it was fun. It's been a good time. I appreciate you guys being on the show. That just goes to prove that when an eighth grader knows the name of the local official, it's a pretty tight knit community there, and nothing
for better
but
or for
class.
worse.
But that's right. So, well, just a shout out, folks. This is why we do the show. We bring fantastic guests on. We say hello. We let them tell their stories, and hopefully you can walk away from this just a little more happier, a little less serious about life, because life we can't take too serious. But for the Cromwell Sports Chronicles, thanks to Steve, thanks to Devin. Just remember this, folks, when it comes to life, love your family, love your community, love your country, and catch your dreams. So everybody out there, take care and appreciate it. You be good.
Coast to coast.
We got a dream, we're gonna chase it.